My heart raced as I recounted the tale of the camping trip that turned into a nightmare. It was a moonlit night when my friends and I decided to venture deep into the woods, seeking an escape from our mundane lives. We set up camp near a serene river, surrounded by towering trees that seemed to touch the stars. As the fire crackled and the laughter echoed, a sense of euphoria filled the air. Little did we know that this feeling would soon be replaced by an overwhelming dread. In the dead of night, a peculiar sound crept into our campsite, a whisper, like a ghostly breeze carrying secrets. We brushed it off as our imagination playing tricks, attributing it to the wind rustling the leaves. The following evening, as we shared ghost stories around the fire, our minds began to play tricks on us. Shadows danced among the trees, casting eerie silhouettes that seemed to elongate with each passing moment. We dismissed them as figments of our imagination, fueled by the stories we had told. But the unease persisted. Our GPS devices malfunctioned, leaving us without a clear sense of direction. Odd occurrences became commonplace: misplaced belongings, footsteps that seemed to follow us through the woods, and chilling whispers that grew louder as the night deepened. We began to doubt our own sanity. On the third night, fear gripped us as we realized we were being watched. Glimpses of pale faces with hollow eyes flashed among the trees, disappearing before we could react. Panic set in, and we decided to abandon our camp and make a run for it. But the forest seemed to stretch endlessly, the path ahead twisted and confusing. Exhausted and petrified, we stumbled upon a decrepit cabin. Desperation led us inside, hoping for shelter from the relentless unknown. The cabin exuded an aura of darkness, as if it was a portal to another realm. The walls seemed to breathe, the floor creaked with every step, and the whispers intensified, echoing with malevolent intent. Huddled together, we tried to find a way out, only to discover that the windows and doors were sealed shut, trapping us within the suffocating embrace of the cabin. The walls closed in, and the whispers became deafening, a chorus of tormented souls demanding release. Time lost meaning as we grappled with the terror that enveloped us. Just as hope seemed to fade, the first light of dawn filtered through a crack in the cabin's walls. With a collective burst of strength, we broke free from our prison. Gasping for air and covered in sweat, we stumbled out into the blinding daylight, leaving the cabin and the sinister woods behind. To this day, I can't shake the feeling that those haunting whispers still linger in my ears, a reminder of that nightmarish camping trip. It taught me that nature's beauty can hide a darkness beyond imagination, one that lures unsuspecting souls into its clutches, only to release them forever changed. Once, deep in the heart of the dense forest, my friends and I embarked on a camping trip that we would never forget. The air was thick with anticipation as we set up our tents near a serene, moonlit lake. The crackling campfire provided comfort against the encroaching darkness. As night fell, strange sounds echoed through the woods, unsettling our nerves. Rustling leaves and distant howls seemed to draw closer, casting an eerie ambiance. One by one, my friends began to share stories of local legends, tales of creatures that roamed these woods, stories that seemed too fantastical to be true. Just as we were laughing off the stories, a chilling breeze swept through the camp, extinguishing the fire. A wave of unease washed over us as the forest plunged into pitch-black darkness. Our flashlights struggled to cut through the oppressive blackness, casting feeble beams that revealed nothing but trees and shadows. Whispers began to circulate among us, suggesting that we were being watched. The distant sounds grew louder, like footsteps approaching our campsite. Panic settled in, and we clung to each other, our minds racing with thoughts of the supernatural. Just as we were about to abandon our camp and flee, a deafening scream pierced the night air. Our hearts pounded as we followed the sound deeper into the woods, driven by an inexplicable force. The forest seemed to close in on us, the trees twisting and contorting in unnatural ways. Our flashlights flickered and died one by one, leaving us in complete darkness. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a tall, shadowy silhouette with piercing eyes that glowed with an otherworldly light. Frozen in fear, we watched as it moved closer, emitting a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down our spines. With a sudden burst of courage, we turned and ran, crashing through the underbrush as branches clawed at our skin. We stumbled upon a decrepit cabin, its windows shattered and doors hanging askew. Desperation drove us inside, seeking refuge from whatever pursued us. The air within was thick with the stench of decay, and the walls were adorned with grotesque symbols. We huddled together, clutching makeshift weapons, waiting for dawn to break. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through the broken windows, we cautiously emerged from the cabin. To our shock, there was no sign of the mysterious figure or the nightmarish sounds that had tormented us. The forest had returned to its tranquil state, as if nothing had happened. With shaky breaths, we made our way back to our campsite, packed our belongings, and fled the woods as fast as our legs could carry us. We never spoke of that night again, but the memory of the eerie encounter still lingers, a haunting reminder of the horrors that can be found in the depths of the wilderness. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the dense forest, my friends and I embarked on a camping trip to the notorious Whispering Pines campground. Nestled deep within the heart of the wilderness, its dark history promised excitement and adventure tinged with a hint of unease. With backpacks weighed down by tents, sleeping bags, and ample food supplies, we eagerly trekked along the rugged trail leading to our destination. The anticipation mixed with nervous laughter as we shared ghost stories that we had heard about this very place. Whispers of sinister shadows, disembodied voices, and an old tale of a missing camper echoed through the campfire tales. After a long hike, we finally reached the fabled Whispering Pines campground, amazed by its serene beauty. Steep hillsides clothed in ancient trees embraced a clearing dotted with fire pits and picnic tables. In the center stood a decaying wooden cabin that groaned with the weight of its age. With excitement overwhelming our fears, we eagerly set up camp near the cabin, overlooking a tranquil lake. As the night set in, the forest came alive with a symphony of eerie sounds. Rustling leaves, hooting owls, and distant animal calls swirled around us, intensifying our curiosity. Little did we know that this would be the beginning of a terrifying ordeal that would test the boundaries of our sanity. The crackling campfire provided warmth and a sense of security, but our enthusiasm slowly waned as unexplained phenomena began to occur. Shadows danced and elongated across the forest floor, whispering voices of the past seemed to permeate the air, and the cabin creaked with an unsettling rhythm. Tension smothered our laughter as the supernatural seemed to toy with our fears. One night, as we huddled together in our tents, a blood-curdling scream pierced through the stillness. Petrified, we hurriedly emerged from our shelters, fearing the worst. A trail of smeared blood guided us towards the decaying cabin. The door, once securely shut, now swung open ominously. Darting inside, our flashlights revealed a gruesome sight. Emotionless and lifeless, we found our friend, Jonathan, suspended by ropes from the rafters. The sight of his lifeless eyes and the stench of decay sent waves of nausea through our trembling bodies. Panic enveloped us, and an inexplicable presence pressed against our senses. With trembling hands, we struggled to cut Jonathan down, knowing we had to flee. Yet, the forest seemed to have other plans for us. Our footsteps, once swift and agile, now stumbled clumsily through dense undergrowth. The trees twisted and turned, confounding our every move, as if determined to keep us trapped within their ancient embrace. Frantic and desperate, we stumbled upon a hidden path. Hope renewed, we followed it blindly, hearts pounding with anticipation of escape. However, as the path wound further into the depths of the forest, the air grew heavy with unease. Indistinguishable whispers scratched at our sanity, and unseen hands brushed past us, chilling us to the bone. Just as we lost all hope, an ethereal figure emerged from the shadows. She wore a flowing white dress, tarnished with the passage of time. With a sorrowful gaze, she beckoned us towards her. We hesitated, unsure whether this was a harbinger of salvation or a sinister ruse. But with trembling steps, we followed her into an ancient graveyard, further deepening the mystery surrounding Whispering Pines. Amidst the crumbling tombstones, the apparition revealed her story. She was Marianne, a young woman who had vanished without a trace decades ago during an ill-fated camping trip. Forever trapped in the twisted reality of this cursed campsite, she had watched countless visitors succumb to the malevolence that plagued Whispering Pines. Her blood-stained message was clear: escape, lest we too became permanent residents of this terrifying realm. Heart pounding in our chests, we raced back towards our campsite, ignoring the deceptive darkness and sinister laughter that echoed through the trees. Our legs carried us faster and faster, driven by terror and the desire to survive. Finally, we burst through the trees, gasping for air, released from the clutches of the malevolent forces that haunted Whispering Pines. Never again would we return to that secluded campground, for it had forever left its mark on our souls. The terrifying ordeal had taught us that some places carry a history that cannot be silenced, and the spirits within them will forever seek to share their suffering with unsuspecting souls. As we returned to civilization, we carried the haunted tale of Whispering Pines, one that would forever send shivers down our spines as we recount the horrors we experienced in that sinister forest.
If you enjoy listening to scary horror content just like this, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you are updated on when I post a new video.